As Maya, Mike Tyson's daughter, heads to the market to grab snacks for movie night, a racist cop, blinded by prejudice, sets his sights on her. Without warning, he hurls accusations, calling her a troublemaker. When Maya tries to walk away, he does the unthinkable, a brutal punch to her face, sending her crashing to the ground. But what he doesn't realize is that he just made the biggest mistake of his life. Because her father is Mike Tyson, and no one lays a hand on his daughter without facing the wrath of a legend. Watch as the story takes an explosive turn when Tyson arrives, ready to defend his family at all costs. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to see how this intense showdown unfolds. It was a warm and peaceful morning in a quiet suburb, with the sun casting a golden glow over the neighborhood. In this calm setting, Mike Tyson, once a fierce fighter, now enjoyed a slower, more relaxed life. He treasured the time spent with his close-knit family, especially his 19-year-old daughter, Maya, whose presence brought energy and joy to the Tyson household during her summer break. That morning, Maya headed to the busy market to buy fresh produce for her family. She had inherited both her father's strength and his kindness, making her a perfect balance of toughness and warmth. Before leaving, she hugged her father, a simple but heartfelt gesture that reflected their strong bond. With a bright smile, she said, "I'll be back soon, Dad. Want me to bring you some snacks for movie night? Popcorn, soda, or maybe chips and dip?" Mike chuckled, his laughter filling the room. "Surprise me, Maya. But don't take too long. I might get bored without you around." Their playful exchange showed the love between them, a bond that had remained strong through all of life's ups and downs. As Maya found a parking spot near the bustling market, she stepped out, ready to pick the freshest fruits and vegetables for her family. While browsing, she suddenly noticed a familiar figure, Officer Riley. His reputation was well known, tainted by accusations of being harsh and discriminatory. He stood at a distance, watching Maya with narrowed eyes, his expression filled with scorn. Maya chatted warmly with a vendor, unaware that her simple kindness was fueling Riley's irritation. His face twisted into a grimace as he marched toward her, his footsteps heavy with hostility. Without reason, he barked, "Got a permit to be loitering around here?" His voice dripped with contempt. Maya, keeping her composure, turned to face him. "Excuse me? I'm just shopping like everyone else," she said calmly, her voice steady and unwavering. Riley's eyes darkened with anger. "Don't get smart with me," he snapped. "People like you always think you're above the rules, like you can just waltz in here and do whatever you want." Maya's jaw tightened, but she met his gaze fearlessly. Though she felt uncomfortable, she refused to back down. Instead of escalating the situation, she turned away, hoping to distance herself from his hostility. But Riley wasn't finished. His anger boiled over as he stepped into her path, blocking her way. "Please let me pass," Maya said, her voice tense but controlled. "I've done nothing wrong." "Oh, you've done nothing wrong?" Riley sneered. "Then why are you trying to leave?" His tone was full of accusation. Then, in a demanding voice, he said, "Let me see some ID. Now." Maya was caught off guard by his sudden order. She reached into her purse, fumbling for her identification. Riley's patience was thin. "Hurry up," he snapped. "Don't make me repeat myself." Maya, sensing the injustice in the air, gathered her courage and looked him in the eye. "I'm not doing anything wrong, officer. You're harassing me. You're abusing your power, and I don't deserve this treatment." Riley wasn't fazed. He leaned in closer, his face just inches from hers. His voice dropped to a low, threatening growl. "You want to make this difficult? I can make this very difficult for you." Tension thickened in the air. Shoppers nearby murmured uneasily, their whispers growing louder as they watched the confrontation unfold. Maya, realizing the danger she was in, reached for her phone. If no one else would stand up for her, she would capture the injustice herself. With steady hands, she lifted her phone. "I'm recording this," she declared, her voice firm. Riley's face twisted with fury. "Put that phone down," he hissed. "You don't want this to go any further." But Maya didn't flinch. She kept her grip firm, her eyes locked on him. Her phone was her only shield against his abuse of power. Seeing her defiance, Riley lost control. With one swift, brutal motion, he lunged at her, ripping the phone from her grasp and slamming it to the ground. The loud crack of the screen shattering echoed through the marketplace. Maya gasped, shock and anger flashing through her. "You can't do that. You're a police officer. You're supposed to protect people, not attack them." Riley's glare burned into her. "I told you to put the phone down. You didn't listen." His voice was ice cold. "Now you're going to pay for it." Then, in a horrifying act of violence, Riley's fist shot out. His knuckles smashed into the side of Maya's face, sending her stumbling backward. The force of the punch knocked her off her feet, her body hitting the ground with a sickening thud. For a moment, the world seemed to stop. Gasps of horror filled the market. Shoppers stood frozen, unable to believe what they had just witnessed. Maya clutched her face, pain radiating through her. "Please, someone help me," she whispered. Riley loomed over her, his voice dark and threatening. "No one's going to help you." But he was wrong. The brutality of his attack shattered the silence, snapping the onlookers out of their shock. Their fear turned to outrage. One bystander, his face red with anger, stepped forward. "Hey, you can't do that," he shouted. "She's just a kid. Leave her alone." Riley spun around, his rage unchecked. "Stay out of this," he growled, "or you'll be next." The shock of the assault still coursed through Maya's body, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. With trembling hands, she touched her cheek, feeling the swelling and pain left by Riley's violent attack. Her eyes, filled with unshed tears, locked onto the enraged officer. The cold, harsh truth of the situation settled over her. Her voice barely above a whisper, she asked, "Why are you doing this?" Riley's response was as cruel as his fists. His tone was filled with contempt as he sneered, "Maybe this will teach you some respect. Next time you think about challenging a cop, you'll think twice." Maya, shaking with rage, shot back, "Respect? You assaulted me. You're the one who deserves no respect." Meanwhile, back at the Tyson household, Mike enjoyed the quiet of a peaceful day. But the calm shattered when his phone vibrated on the coffee table. Curious, he reached for it, but as soon as he answered, an urgent, panicked voice cut through the silence like a knife. "Mr. Tyson, listen to me," the caller said, his voice strained with alarm. "Your daughter has been assaulted by a police officer at the market. You need to get here right now." Mike's heart pounded, fear gripping him. "What? Who's the officer? Is Maya okay?" The witness hesitated, then spoke the name that sent a surge of rage through Mike's veins. "Officer Riley, sir." In an instant, the peace of Mike Tyson's world shattered. The fire that had once fueled his legendary boxing career roared back to life. Without hesitation, he grabbed his keys, his grip so tight his knuckles turned white. He muttered the name like a curse. Riley. That single word echoed in his mind, igniting a fury that propelled him out the door like a predator on the hunt. When Mike arrived at the market, chaos and concern filled the air. His daughter sat on the curb, her face bruised and swollen from Riley's assault. Tears shimmered on her cheeks, a painful contrast to the fierce resilience she had shown just moments earlier. A crowd had gathered, some offering comfort, others shouting in anger at the injustice they had witnessed. Mike's eyes burned with fury as he rushed to her side. "Maya, are you okay?" Before she could respond, Riley emerged from the sea of onlookers, his face twisted in a smug smirk. His voice dripped with disdain. "This your daddy? Guess disrespect runs in the family." The words hung in the air like poison, fueling the fire raging inside Mike. He turned to Riley, his towering presence overwhelming. His voice was low, deadly. "What the hell did you do to my daughter?" Riley, emboldened by the tension in the air, played the provocateur with relish. His mocking laughter curdled the mood. "She needed to learn a lesson. And maybe you do too." His eyes gleamed with arrogance. "You think you can intimidate me, Tyson? You're a washed-up has-been." The crowd, sensing the storm about to break, began to scatter, clearing a path for what was coming. Then Riley, drunk on his own confidence, swung. A wild, reckless punch, A haymaker thrown with no skill, only blind aggression. Mike saw it coming a mile away. With the reflexes of a seasoned fighter, he slipped the punch effortlessly, moving with the deadly grace of a panther. Riley cursed in frustration. Damn it! His failed attack only made him look weaker. The arrogance drained from his face, replaced with something else. Fear. Mike's voice, calm and cold, carried a deadly promise. Wrong move, Riley. A hush fell over the crowd. Every breath, every heartbeat hung in suspense. Mike stood tall, his eyes like frozen steel. You're going to pay for what you've done. Then, with the force of years of training and a father's unrelenting fury, Mike's fist shot forward. The impact was brutal. Riley staggered back, the shock of the hit rippling through the crowd like a wave. The market erupted into cheers. Justice, long overdue, was unfolding before their eyes. Some rushed to pull out their phones, capturing the moment. Mike Tyson, the fallen champion, rising once more to defend his daughter. Riley, humiliated and seething, lashed out in desperation. He grabbed his baton, his grip shaky, his eyes wild. He swung. But Mike was faster. With a master's precision, he blocked the attack, the metallic clang ringing through the market like a challenge. The baton was useless against him. Mike struck back. A flurry of sharp, calculated jabs, each one finding its mark. Riley gasped, stumbling under the assault. His chest, his arms, his jaw. Every hit a reminder of the mistake he had made. Enough, Riley wheezed, barely able to stand. But Mike wasn't finished. He loomed over Riley, his expression unreadable. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of judgment itself. You think you can hurt my family and walk away? His fists clenched. His presence was terrifying. Not today. Then came the final blow. A devastating strike, powered by justice, vengeance, and a father's love. Riley hit the ground. Hard. Silence. Then, the cheers erupted again, louder this time. The once feared officer now lay crumpled and broken at Mike's feet. Defeated. Mike, breathing heavily, stood tall. He looked down at the man who had dared to hurt his daughter and spoke one last time. You picked the wrong person to mess with, and as if on cue, sirens screamed in the distance, slicing through the air. Justice had arrived. The wail of sirens sliced through the tense air as two squad cars screeched to a halt, their tires kicking up clouds of dust. The officers emerged, their expressions grim as they surveyed the scene. The crowd, still gathered around Maya, wasted no time pointing to their phones, eagerly displaying the recorded evidence of Riley's assault. One officer, his resolve like steel, stepped forward, locking eyes with Riley, who lay trembling in the dirt. His voice was cold, uncompromising. Riley, you're under arrest for assault and misconduct. You're coming with us. Riley, his voice weak and desperate, sputtered. He attacked me. The lead officer shot him a withering glare, his skepticism clear. We have video evidence that says otherwise. Riley's protests fell on deaf ears. His feigned innocence shattered under the weight of undeniable proof. Cold steel cuffs snapped around his wrists, the metallic clink ringing with finality. As the officers hauled him to his feet, his pleas turned to petulant curses, his rage bubbling beneath the surface. The sight of him, disheveled, disgraced, and escorted away in handcuffs, was met with silent, stony-faced condemnation from the crowd. Mike, barely sparing Riley another glance, turned his attention to Maya. The fire in his eyes softened the moment he saw her. Without hesitation, he pulled her into his arms, wrapping her in a fierce, protective embrace. Maya, overwhelmed by the storm of emotions inside her, buried her face in his chest. Her body trembled with sobs, gratitude, love, and relief pouring out in a flood of tears. Her voice was choked but filled with raw emotion. Thank you, Dad. Mike held her tighter, his words a vow. No one messes with my family. Ever. The declaration carried through the square, met with murmurs of agreement from the onlookers. His status as a community hero was reaffirmed in the face of injustice. Then, a single clap rang out, and another. Within moments, the entire crowd erupted into applause, the sound swelling like a wave, lifting Mike and Maya as they rose from the ground. Cheers filled the air, voices chanting in unison. "Tyson! Tyson! Tyson!" Maya, cheeks damp with tears, looked up at her father, her smile shining through. "You're a hero, Dad." Within hours, the footage of the incident spread like wildfire. Social media catapulted Mike and Maya's story into the public eye, igniting a firestorm of outrage. The damning evidence of Riley's brutality left no room for doubt. His fate was sealed, stripped of his badge, cast out as a pariah, and placed under criminal investigation. As he was led away in cuffs, the jeers of those he had once terrorized followed him, a bitter reminder of his fall from grace. The chaos of the day faded, giving way to the tranquility of the evening. At home, the Tyson residence emanated warmth and comfort, a safe haven in the wake of the storm. Mike and Maya sat side by side on the couch, the flickering glow of the television casting a soft light over them. A movie played in the background, but the real comfort was found in the quiet, in the unspoken understanding between them. Maya, still shaken but beginning to regain her spirit, leaned into her father's embrace. A hint of mischief flickered in her eyes as she nudged him playfully. "So, about those snacks for movie night?" she teased, a sly smile curling her lips. "I'm starting to think you just wanted an excuse to avoid spending time with me." Mike chuckled, draping an arm around her shoulders. "Oh, really? Sounds like someone's fishing for a special treat." He smirked. "What do you think, Maya? Popcorn?" The moment, simple yet profound, was a testament to love and resilience. As the camera pulled back, it captured the warmth of their home, the soft hum of the television, the cozy furnishings, and the quiet comfort of a father and daughter who had weathered the storm together. In that moment, the world outside ceased to matter, because what truly mattered, the strength of the human spirit, the power of love, and the unbreakable bonds of family, was right here. As the camera slowly fades to black, the warmth of the Tyson home lingers, a father and daughter, battle-worn but unbroken, finding peace in each other's embrace. But this isn't just a story. It's a reality for so many who have suffered injustice, who have felt powerless, who have needed someone to stand up for them. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something, anger, hope, fire, don't let it end here. Hit that like button to show your support for standing up against injustice. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because stories like this need to be told. And most importantly, comment below. What would you have done if you were in Mike's shoes? Have you, or someone you know, ever faced injustice like this? What's the most powerful moment in this story for you? Your voice matters. Your engagement helps stories like this reach more people. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about one fight. It's about all of us standing together. Be part of the movement. Subscribe now.